A few days later. So, the Super Bowl is a couple days behind us now. Watch some of the talking head shows and listen to sports talk radio and just have my thoughts about things here. Number one, I'm still not mad at the outcome. Um, I still think the better team won this game. I know a lot of people think that's a controversial take because they felt the Eagles clearly outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's even non-Eagles fans saying that. The one thing I will agree with is Patrick Mahomes was not the best player on the field that day. That, of course, was Jalen Hurts. His performance at quarterback was much better than what you saw, but Mahomes got the W and Jalen got the L. So I guess that was the difference in the minds of the people that pick it. Anyway, but that leads into the next point I want to make here, and that is any Philadelphia fans that are feeling down. For number one, I flushed those feelings. There is no point in getting mad and letting it linger. Like, just move on. Again, we could all collectively be mad and scream till we're blue in the faces. It's not going to change the outcome of the game. The commissioner's not going to see us all yelling and be like, you know what, the Eagles should get that ball back with a minute and 20 left, blah, 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 whatever. um, think of it like this, Philadelphia. All right. Jalen Hurts is your quarterback. This is a quarterback who is thrown, in essence, his second full starting season in the NFL, made it to the Super Bowl, and left the field as the best player that took to the field that day. He is in a conference where I ask you, who is his competition? Aaron Rodgers, he's old as dirt. Matt Stafford, he's old as dirt. Kirk Cousins, that who you're going to bring up? Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, two of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the league. Like, who is the interconference competition at quarterback right now? And football is a game where if you have that key piece at quarterback, you will get success. Doesn't mean you necessarily always win it all, but you will get success, and you should feel really good having Jalen Hurts as your quarterback right now, who's only 24 years old and in his first Super Bowl. And again, I know it sounds like I'm repeating this because I am. He left the field as the best player in the game. So, of course, someone else could get drafted, or Brock Purdy or Trey Lance or someone young could to prove to be just as good of an upstart quarterback as Jalen Hurts is. But that's all yet to be seen. The bottom line is we have Jalen Hurts here. We have Devontae Smith, who's a certified stud wide receiver. You have A.J. Brown, who's a certified stud wide receiver. And they are two different types of certified stud wide receivers. You have Dallas Goedert, the catches that he was making in contention during the Super Bowl. Did you see that shit? Anyway, what I'm getting at is the Eagles are built to win and have an offensive machine that is pretty well locked down for a couple seasons here. Hey, there may be things that come up like a Kelsey retirement, and then you got to go get a center. But going into next season, you got 2 first-round draft picks, Philadelphia. Keep your chin up. We still got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, who's going to be turning 25 next year. Keep your chin up. I have nothing but optimism looking forward. Like, it stinks that they lost. It stinks that they lost in such a close game. And it stinks that they lost with such an egregiously called penalty. And to those of you out there, and I don't have the time to like rationally try and explain to you, if you don't understand why that Bradbury holding call was egregious, then you never will. How you're going to sit there and say, that was the only time that defensive holding was so obvious that it needed to be called in this game. That was the singular time and moment that it just had to be called. Because no one else was held or tugged or had an arm put on them from a corner of safety to the receiver, whatever. That was the only time it was so blatantly obvious and egregious enough to be called. Okay. If you can't understand why that was so beyond comprehension of why the refs called it at that point in the game, then you never will understand. Oh, but James Bradbury said he held. That doesn't change the fact of how egregious it still was to be called at that moment in time. I'm sure if you talk to enough of the corners and safeties, they'd say, yeah, okay, I grabbed a guy's jersey, had my arm wrapped around it, the refs didn't call it, whatever. Anyway, one last thing I want to talk about coming out of this Super Bowl, it has nothing to do with the Eagles, is Patrick Mahomes is getting dunked on. Now, I am someone that has had nothing but respect for Patrick Mahomes because when I see greatness, I appreciate greatness. Again, I hate his douchebag brother and wife, but that aside, I've never questioned or said his skill is lackadaisical in any way, shape, or form, or not impressive in any way, shape, or form. The thing about that Bradbury holding call on defense at the end of the game is it cheapened that win for Patrick Mahomes so much because the average fan that wasn't a Kansas City Chiefs or an Eagles fan, the Eagles fans especially feel like they got robbed, but the average fan that was just watching that game, just entertain my ass on this Sunday night, they felt like they were robbed. Now, some of them didn't, obviously, but a lot of them did. And to them, they felt, a lot of them that I'm hearing and seeing said, this illegitimizes Patrick Mahomes' win in some way, shape, or form. Now, I personally don't think it doesn't, because he was a guy that drove down on every single drive in the second half and got a scoring opportunity and actually put points on the board, whether it was a touchdown or field goal. So I saw nothing but a second half of quarterback greatness from Patrick Mahomes. The first half, that's a whole different story. That's why I'm saying Jalen Hurts is left the field is a much better player because he had the complete game of greatness. But yeah, a lot of people are like tarnishing this, and I can understand. I'm not saying I don't understand why that penalty tarnished the game, but I'm saying I do understand why it did. But anyway, look, Philadelphia, this video is mainly for the Philadelphia fans out there and the people that are down because of this Super Bowl. Again, it was a great game that ended in a complete bummer of a moment because you knew going into that final drive that the Chiefs had said, we're at least going to get a minute and change to get some sort of drive and maybe we'll have a miracle pulled out at the end. No, never mind. The refs just ended the game for us. So we still have Jalen Hurts. Again, would you be more worried to be playing in the division with Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, whichever one San Francisco is going to go with, Aaron Rodgers at 500 years old, Matt Stafford at 500 years old? Would you rather play in that division, or would you rather play in the division with Josh Allen? I hear the audible booing. The Patrick Mahomes, even Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence would be a top 3 quarterback in the NFC if he was in the NFC. You get my point. The Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes of the world, they're in the AFC. And I feel a little bit better knowing that, honestly. Because, man, if you have that one top 3 quarterback in the league and he's playing in your conference and there's no other top 3, arguably, there might be even one other top 5 talent, if I'll give Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins that much credit, which I won't. But anyway, keep your chins up, Philadelphia. And I posted that picture of it's a great picture, and I think that is going to be something that is going to be looked back in Philadelphia Eagles history of Jalen Hurts walking off the field past his sideline and the confetti coming down. And I posted that picture on my community timeline, and I just put "be back," or no, get back, excuse me. And that's all there is to it. He should take a picture like that, look at it, and say, I'm going to get back to that moment. Well, not to that moment, walking away as a loser, but get back to that moment, but be walking away the winner. Anyway, I think the sky's the limit with this kid. We got 2 first-round draft picks that, one's a top 10 and one's the 31st pick. You could bundle those 2 together and move up potentially to a top 5 pick. So, hey, looking forward to draft night. Anyway, keep your heads up, Philadelphia. And I'm just nothing but optimistic going from here on forward. That is all.